Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
I wrote to you in March following the announcement of 300 job losses in TikTok, and I asked if you would commission an audit of job volatility in the tech sector. And as it stands today, almost 5,000 staff at Intel are in limbo following the company's announcement of global cuts of 20% of its workforce. Naturally, I hope, like yourself, that all of those jobs will be retained. But, Minister, have you commissioned an audit of the jobs in this sector?
Thank you, Cathaoirleach, and thank you, Deputy Rose Conway-Walsh, for a question. Although the technology sector has undergone a period of sustained growth for over 20 years, modest contractions have occurred recently. Possible US trade actions on semiconductors and other challenges have also created a moment of international uncertainty in the sector. In response to these geopolitical and trade challenges, the Government has agreed to expedite its action plan for competitiveness and productivity. Furthermore, several short-term measures such as enhancing international trade promotion, addressing business costs and improving energy infrastructure will bolster the resilience of technology firms and support their competitiveness. Where job losses are announced by any idea client company based here, our first concern is with staff members and their families impacted by such decisions. My department's main aim, with the support of enterprise development agencies, is to assist where possible in helping the impacted people find alternative employment. Through a number of measures, provision of a detailed skills profile for employees, which can be shared with other potential employers, identification and connection with employers who may bring across the locality or a wider region, information sessions by the Department of Social Protection's Intro Office on social welfare services and employment services, identification and provision of training and further opportunities for employees, together with exploring opportunities to start your own business through LEOs and Enterprise Ireland. Working with the IDA and Enterprise Ireland, our objective is to sustain and create further employment in the technology sector. The programme for government sets out a range of commitments, including sectoral strategies, which will support the sector. To this end, I will launch the National Semiconductor Strategy this month, which will be a clear signal that government support for economically and strategically vital sector. As part of the development of the strategy, my department undertook a comprehensive mapping exercise to identify Ireland's key semiconductor market, both indigenous and multinational, which will further inform our engagement with the sector, both domestic and multinational.
Thank you, Minister.
Minister, the threat to the jobs in Intel and the job losses in TikTok come on the back of the job cuts too in Meta, and there's reports of 300 jobs at risk at Carlon Global Solutions in Limerick. This company, as you know, provides digital integrated solutions for the healthcare industry. And it has talked about its decision to consider its future in Ireland. That comes after a review of its business operations and an examination of the changing healthcare landscape globally. And I'm asking you, are you working with the staff there and the management at Carlon Global Solutions? Have you explored the alternatives to these proposed layoffs, which would not only be a severe blow to the individual workers, but have a hugely negative impact on Limerick? I welcome the semiconductor strategy. I would ask you that that is on an all-island basis. I think there's huge opportunities there in the semiconductor space as well.
Thank you, Cathaoirleach. And in all the sectors that you referenced, we absolutely are responding with very significant policy interventions, particularly our action plan on competitiveness. What I would say, there's been a huge increase in growth in the tech sector, about 15% or more over the pandemic period. And we have seen a recalibration in some areas. But the critical thing is that while it's very difficult and for families to face news of uncertainty, there are huge opportunities. And we see the sector growing globally, which is incredible in an Irish context with so many new companies, particularly in the areas of artificial intelligence, generative AI. There's huge opportunities there for Ireland being a world leader, particularly in a European context. So we have a very strong basis for growth. The IDA strategy out to 2029 specifically calls out the areas of digitalisation and semiconductor activity, and those are going to be key to sustaining our employment levels into the future. So we are doing a number of measures like our Action Plan for Competitiveness, like our new semiconductor strategy. Obviously, we've updated our AI strategy last November, which is very important with industry, in partnership with industry, and we have so many significant research partners with tertiary education, which are yielding significant results that we can see on the landscape.
Thanks, Minister.
Yeah, thanks for that, Minister. I think there's a real urgency around this, and you didn't address in terms of Caroline solutions as to what was being done there, but I will take it that you are in there, that you are talking to staff, that you have like a skills net in there as well to ensure, to work with these companies, to look at what alternatives are available in the immediate term. Minister, the question the government must answer is where the next decade of jobs is coming from. I think we need a calm strategic response here. What we do not need to use in this economic instability is to row back on the commitments on pension enrolment, wages and sick leave. The staff, as you rightly say, have to be front and centre. All of these staff members have families as well that are living in the midst of the cost of living crisis that people are trying to cope with right now. But we can only create a sustainable economy and a society by addressing the core issues of, obviously, of our infrastructure, of the deficits in water, renewable energy, and enhancing the communications network.
Thank you, Deputy.
Thank you, Caroline. And for Caroline, obviously, we are working very closely with the company. There's a very established protocol we have in the department for any company who is encountering difficulty or who are making announcements, and we are the first responders in there, working with them, providing skills, ensuring that they have the pathway to further training and redeployment. And that is a big challenge in some of the sectors that are at risk, because the idea is very clear in doing a risk profile, and what we try and do is to get investment into companies like that early, foresee the pressures that are coming on, and like getting R&D grants that we have into a number of companies that really cements the next product line, that embeds the next level of patents and IPs, and that's going to be critical for our future. And we've done that on a number of occasions, but in an economy that has full employment, there are always pressure points, and we do look at those risk profiles, which are so important to us. And it's one thing I do challenge the IDA on regularly. We need to foresee the problems potentially in the next 6, 8, 10 months, 2 years, and try and see what can we do now to embed that employment into our economy. And we're very much at the forefront of doing that. And the new strategy really sets out that, particularly I would call out $7.5 billion in R&D investment, specifically by the IDA over the next 5 years, which has seen 400% in R&D increase in investment over the last decade.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.